This is my first time ever doing a commissioned artwork, and I would have never guessed that it'd be an 8 by 11-foot wall that would be my canvas. So it was definitely intimidating. It's exciting. I'm just going to go through all of those details today. This park is so beautiful. I cannot believe I've been living here in Toronto for so long and never been over here. I felt like I was in need of a little dose of nature today. For those who I haven't met yet, hi, my name is Diane, and I am a pharmacist, artist, yoga teacher based in Toronto. I quit my job almost 9 months ago now, wow, in the pharmaceutical industry as a pharmacist to go on a journey of self-discovery, try a new direction in life. We explore creativity and health and wellness. That is what I usually talk about here on my YouTube. So welcome, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining me. Ever since I have been a kid, I've always loved art. It's the only thing I ever wanted to do. And my mom said I was the easiest kid to take care of because she'd give me some pencil crayons, something to draw on, and I could occupy myself for hours. So that's who I've always been, and somehow I lost a piece of that while I was growing up. Since I've been in this period of rebuilding what I want my future life to look like, I've been really trying to reconnect with the creative part of myself. I painted a mural for my friend JJ and his company, Rootly. It all started because JJ posted on his story that he was looking for an artist to do this. And he had an example of what he was looking for. And I was like, hey, yeah, I think I can do that. I started talking to his team and learning about what they were looking for. And we went through the design process, and then it took 5 days to paint. That first week or so, a lot of my time was spent on Procreate, trying to bring my shared vision with Rootly come to life. And then once that was done, I submitted a formal proposal. We worked on that a little bit more, and about a week after I started, we landed on a final design. I purchased all the materials that I needed, including a projector. And I didn't want to fiddle around with the grid. I just wanted to make it as easy for myself as I could. I went to the local hardware store, and there's a lovely lady. Thank you so much, Claire, for your help. She was also a muralist. My luck to have met a muralist at the hardware store. I got everything that I needed, and I got started painting the next day. Now I'm going to walk you through the time lapse. So day one, my first step here was protecting the space, just making sure I wasn't getting paint anywhere. I didn't want to get it. Then I started with the gradient of the wall. If you're interested in reaching a similar result, like a smooth gradient, I would recommend you check out this video that I'm linking here. It was very helpful for me. I learned that you need quite a few transition colors. I used here 3 different colors to transition between the purple to the orange. So highly recommend to watch that if you are interested in getting that result. After I finished this gradient, which I would personally say was the most technically challenging of the entire project, I started tracing. Glad I got the projector, and then finally I could start with the fun part here by the end of day 2, which was painting. I got started on some of the clouds here, as you can see, and then we're in day 3. Quick break to say hi to the bestie. This is Mariah. Her partner is JJ, who owns Rootly. So continuing painting, and right now I want to tell you a bit about my process, which is to start from the back and move forward to the front. And as you do that, kind of make like a paint by colors for yourself, because I found that throughout this process, I did waste quite decent amount of time switching back and forth from colors, washing my brushes and things like that. And I probably could have shaved off like half a day to a day of the painting process if I would have been a bit more strict about sticking to a color at a time and my plan. So now I'm on day 4. I have quite a few more of the buildings done. I have the water there done, and I'm working on the railings as well as the CN tower. And the railings were challenging in that I wanted them to be really straight and the perspective to stay consistent. So because of that, I used tape. But honestly, if I could go back in time, I probably would not fiddle around with tape for the smaller lines like the railings. It took a lot of time, and the result wasn't that great because the paint would bleed through the tape. So I still would have continued using the tape for some of the larger lines, like in the CN Tower, as you see. But for some of the small lines, I probably just would have done that freehand. I think it would have saved me a little bit of time. So as you can see, I'm going back and forth. I'm waiting for each layer of color in the CN Tower to dry before going back to it with the new color. And I'm also wiping off some chalk on areas that I'm done. And now I'm moving on to the Rootly logo. My tip is to kind of alternate between the projector and also just turning the lights on and using your common sense of like the shape of what you're doing to get that perfect shape. And I went over it maybe 3 or 4 times, both with that pure white to get that really opaque professional look, as well as with the background pink to clean up any lines. I'm adding my final details on the hot air balloon and the path here, and that's the final result on day 5. Overall, I am just so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you again to Rootly and JJ. In this portion, I want to talk directly to those of you who are trying something new. Maybe this would be your art or new career path. What we need to bring to our awareness and talk about is the inner critic. That voice that we all have inside of us that goes,
who do you think you are? Do you really think that you can do this?
it's that part of you that relentlessly compares your work and where you are in life to people who have been doing what you want to be doing for decades. It's that part of you that even goes back in time to criticize projects that you've completed and tells you that it's not good enough and that you're not good enough. In painting this mural, over and over again, whether it was in the design process, later on while I was actually painting, 70 to 80% of the time, I was just worried that it wouldn't come out well and that my design would be terrible, that everyone would hate the mural. With every paint stroke, I was hearing this come up in my mind and my body. The first lesson is to not believe the inner critic. Have the courage to hear it, thank it for wanting to protect you, and continue going on with your work. This makes me think of a book I read recently called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. She would imagine her going on a road trip anytime she started a creative process. She would always have to come along, but there were rules. Fear is not allowed to drive the vehicle or to decide when to go somewhere or when to stop, and it's not allowed to touch even the radio. Allowing fear to be present, change our relationship with it, and not allow it to make the decisions to call the shots in our lives. I find it so fascinating how, as humans, we have these parts of ourselves that hold us back, and a lot of this is evolutionary. One of our core needs is social connection and relationship. In the past, being different, it could have meant like being ostracized and losing the relationships that matter to us. This was I started getting excited about the different projects I could take on in the future, doing research about some of the different platforms that artists find jobs or advertise their work. And I came across so many incredible artists that are in Toronto. I started having this fear come up of being like, I don't know if I'm good enough for this. What I want to say is know that it's not going to be cohesive at the beginning, especially anytime that you're in a phase of experimentation and trying new things and figuring out what works for you. You can't have those expectations for yourself to have the perfect portfolio. In a conversation with my friend Diane, she introduced me to the idea of a portfolio. It's the idea that you don't necessarily need to choose one path, work up sequentially in that one specific path for the next 30, 40 years of your life. That you can have multiple things that fulfill you and engage you and interest you in different ways, and have all of those things come together to create the career of your dreams. Acknowledging that I don't fit into one very clean, specific box at this time and have to do that one thing forever was a really freeing realization. So this is just a reminder to not put yourself in that box, especially in times of transition. Give yourself the grace to experiment and try new things and just not let it be so cohesive at the beginning. Recently, I've just been trying to lean a lot more into curiosity and the possibility, which is the flip side of the coin of that feeling of fear of the uncertainty. If you're on your creative journey, you're trying to figure out where and how you can share your gifts in life, to lean into that curiosity and not give yourself too much pressure. I am freezing and I am starting to get a little bit hungry, so I'm going to go get a burger. I already looked up a spot, so let's go together. That was really good. I wanted to chat a bit about self-care. And I think before I had quite a limited idea of what self-care is, whether it was like doing my nails, like a spa day, like that was my idea of self-care. I've developed a very different perspective of self-care. I think it's expanded to mean a lot of different things for me. Just the term self care, it's not only on a physical level that you're caring for yourself, it's also caring for yourself spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Like, I thought about the parts of myself that felt tired. For me, what feels like self care right now is just letting go of doing for a day or two and focusing more on receiving. In the artist's way, she talks about the concept of an artist state as well. And that's essentially what I'm taking along with me to do today. The requirements for an artist state is that you have to do it alone, on your own, spending time on your own. And it has to be something that you enjoy or are curious about. For me, I know that spending time outdoors, getting fresh air, being in nature is always really recharging. And also, the past couple days, I've just been craving a burger. I think I may have talked in my previous videos. I've been trying to have more vegetarian food, and I've been really enjoying it, eating a lot more plant-based. But it's usually around the time of my period whenever I start craving like a burger. So this morning, I heeded that craving, so it brought me here to Ugly Delicious. Later today, I'm going to go to Othership with Dong. I'm very lucky to have such generous and kind friends that gifted us a couple credits for our birthday. So we're going to go do that. And then tonight I'm going to end it off with reading, just allowing myself to put my phone aside and read a book I've been wanting to read for some time now, being When the Body Says No by Gabor Mate. Very similar to The Myth of Normal, seems like, but this one he wrote earlier on. I love The Myth of Normal, and this one talks about how stress impacts mind-body health, and I see every single one of these activities as a different form of self-care, whether for my mind, my body, and just my spirit. I really encourage you to think about how you care for yourself in your life. It doesn't always have to be something expensive like getting your nails done. The way you treat yourself, how you spend your time, all of these different things can contribute to self-care. Just some food for thought, and I'm gonna head home now and get ready for Othership. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you again to JJ and Rootly for the opportunity to create this mural and push my own boundaries. I'm really looking forward to doing more art and creating more in the weeks to come. Thank you for watching, and we'll chat again very soon.